Thank you so much, Carly, for coming today to Perfect Surrogacy, our YouTube series. And thank you for um, accepting our invitation for you to share your information and your story and your journey with us to the world. So
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
this month we want to talk about motherhood because it's May. It's the Mother's Day. We're celebrating all moms in every way, but we want to focus the motherhood from surrogacy perspective. So, welcome one more time, and let's start discovering your journey through the month of May in motherhood. So, the first question would be, how did you first learn about surrogacy as a way to grow your family or to start your family?
It's a great question. I don't like in terms of my own specific journey, I learned about it through our doctor. But it was kind of one of those things I feel like I thought I knew about. I knew it was an option, sort of. It was always like floating kind of in the back of my head of like, if this doesn't work, that will be a thing that we'll explore. But then, of course, as I learned about it, I realized I didn't actually know anything about it. But the first conversation we had in a real way about working with a surrogate happened in our RE's office.
Oh, so but you already knew about surrogacy. So it
Kind
was
of,
not
yeah.
in your
I knew it was a thing people did, but I didn't know anything about it specifically.
a lot of people talk about it like, oh, I didn't know anything about it. The way I ever heard of surrogacy was through friends or through the funny movie Mama. So
Yeah,
it was
I mean, that was,
interesting.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, that's interesting. A lot of people just talk. It's a subject that you don't really talk every
Yeah,
day or you're here. So yeah.
totally.
And what were your initial feelings or concerns about surrogacy?
I mean, I think for me, it was something I was sort of dreading because that would mean that I was not going to be able to get pregnant. So it was very loaded for me because it was sort of a signal that the efforts that I put in towards me carrying my child would not work. So by the time we decided to really seriously explore it, there was a lot of grieving that I had to do about my own potential to carry a pregnancy. Um, but I very quickly had a sort of very positive and excited view on it once I realized that it was something that A, we were fortunate enough to have the option to do, but B, could really help us build our family.
Awesome. And can I ask you what was the reason you couldn't carry?
Yeah, of course. I mean, there is still to this day no exact reason. I think it's a number of reasons. We had a few failed transfers. I found out that I had endometriosis. I had surgery to correct the endometriosis, and it still wasn't working. So some combination of like, yes, I had endo. There was some unexplained infertility. I was a little bit older. I'm 39 now. So this was all happening over the last 5 years. Not ever a clear answer and never a clear indication of you definitely can't carry, but it was more burnout and sort of frustration of, okay, we've spent a ton of money and time trying to get me pregnant and it's not working. So let's try something else.
So did you start with IVF on your own?
Yes, I
With
did
your
eight.
own?
I did 8 rounds of IVF, and 4 transfers to me.
Oh wow. Surrogacy was like at the end of the list, trying not to
Exactly.
because you wanted to feel it, you wanted to have experience, and was a way for you to say, okay, it's okay not to be okay, right?
Yes,
It's okay to have options, as you said. Fortunately, you could have that option. Not a lot of people are able to.
totally.
So awesome. What inspired you to pursue motherhood through surrogacy? I think we just talked about it.
Yeah. I mean, again, it was kind of the next option to consider in our road when things weren't working with me. And we sort of got on board because it was sort of the next thing to explore.
Yes, wow. That must be tough, right? Sometimes you want to feel, is that your first baby, first experience? Were there any key moments, people or resources that helped guide you early on?
Yes, so we were fortunate enough to work with a concierge service similar to the service that I'm now providing to intended parents, who
Okay.
helped us both match with our surrogates and also guide us through the process.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's important to have someone by your side to guide you, and especially when you're new at this, you're like, okay, now what? This is a whole something that we don't know. We're learning
Yeah.
through the process.
It's really a full-time job, and it's a whole new world of information and questions and things to understand that I almost feel like it's impossible to do it without having that advocate next to you,
Yeah,
guiding you the whole time, because there are so many things that come up that you can't even begin to imagine. And having that support is the best thing you can have.
exactly. I can imagine those parents, IPs that want to do it by themselves. And there are some of them that would like to just avoid
Yeah.
the agency. And I mean, I'm learning about all that. The regulations, the law, the health, it's a human thing. So you're like, okay, what if you don't know this? So it's
Yeah,
important.
exactly.
So what steps did you take once you decided to move forward with surrogacy?
In terms of finding a surrogate and
Yeah, in terms
starting the
of
process. So
we decided to go to surrogacy now. This is the
now
next.
what? Yeah.
Yeah.
So first we contacted a lawyer, which I always recommend to my clients. That was one of the most helpful conversations that we had. And I think there's a bit of a misconception that you have to wait till you have a surrogate to have a lawyer.
Mhm.
But he really helped us think about what we wanted, what we were looking for in a gestational carrier, how to sort of start the search, things to keep in mind. So that was incredibly helpful. And then, like I said, we worked with the concierge service, so she helped us match with our surrogate.
There's so many steps, right? Oh my gosh. How did you choose the professionals and support team you worked with? In this case, us.
I think, it was a bit of trial and error. We started the process, started looking at profiles, started talking to agencies, lawyers, and we kind of shopped around the way that you would for anything else in life when you're like hiring someone to provide a service. And we felt really comfortable and really seen in sort of our struggles. And Fairfax was very professional. And that was kind of it. We were off to the races.
Did you talk to different ones? Yeah, did you have a checklist? It's interesting
Not
because
really.
there's so many agencies out there. So,
Yeah, no, it kind of happened quickly, and we loved the surrogate that we met with through Fairfax, and
okay.
um, we felt comfortable, so we just went with it.
Oh, okay. So it was more like a feeling, a gut
Hmm.
feeling. You did the research, you have your
There was
lawyer,
a lot of
and
feeling in it.
then you
Absolutely.
say, okay, this is it. Sometimes you go through it's that when we choose anything, right? When we choose a venue for an event or a school to study or anything, it's like, okay, I like it, but there's something that there's not matching. So when you have the clicking,
Yeah, this was more
point,
intuitive.
right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes you just want like, I like this. This is what I want. Awesome. What's the first thing you did after deciding?
Our families kind of knew we were exploring this at the time we were exploring it because we were very open with them about our struggles. So they knew that like we hadn't gotten pregnant, we had had another failed transfer, that we were going to talk about surrogacy. Um, so, we kind of kept them up to date as we went, and we were like, yeah, we're talking to agencies, and then we matched and we told them we matched, and we were like, we'll probably do a transfer in a few months. So we kind of were just keeping people up to date in real
Right.
time.
Yeah, usually, when you make a decision, it's like when you decided to a haircut, let's say. You're like, that's it. I'm gonna have a haircut, and then you choose the haircut and the color, whatever, and then you go, that's it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna change. You know what I mean? That's what the
Yeah.
question, like, oh my God, we're in. Now what? Okay, embrace everything.
Yeah.
Yes. Awesome. Go to the emotional journey to motherhood. Um, so how did your definition of motherhood shift or deepen through this experience?
It's a great question. I think, part of the reason the surrogacy process was so beautiful for me, even though it felt challenging in the beginning, was I think it taught me a lot about motherhood and parenting in the sense that it forced me to relinquish a lot of control and to sort of surrender to the unknown a bit. and also forced me to kind of examine what it meant to mother myself and take care of myself through a really challenging time. And so I think it kind of showed me that, motherhood is not as one-dimensional as maybe we might think it is at the outset of the journey, and that there's many ways to get there, and it can feel really complicated and really amazing and really terrible all at the same time. And it's like just an incredibly nuanced thing.
Yes, it's true. Motherhood is bigger than just having the baby. It's more than that.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. What emotions did you feel when you realized you would become a mom through surrogacy? We might have touched
Well,
that.
I don't think that I ever really I don't think it fully sunk in that I would become a mom until literally I was watching my son be born. It was, I think with all of the trauma that we faced in our own fertility journey, in our surrogacy journey, um, I kind of like numbed out at a certain point to sort of protect myself. And so I was trying to like act excited about it because I was excited, but I didn't really let myself like feel the excitement that, I think I could have felt leading up to it because I was so like guarded. And then when my son was born, I just like had like a whole like emotional, like in a really good way, like breakdown, like sort of all of the joy like bubbled up. And I was like, oh, I'm a mom now.
Yeah, I imagine for you wanting to feel that experience yourself, not having it through the 9 months, I guess that was hard. So for when you say numbing yourself was like putting those feelings all away, right? And like, okay, I am going to be a mom. This is my kid
Yeah.
and my son's kid. It's just not in my belly. So
Yeah.
I guess that must be difficult. I am a mom myself. I'm a single mom. And I went through the whole thing by myself. It was tough being a single mom, but the fact that just the words being mom, like you said, being a mom is not just having a baby, but having the feeling to, to have it inside. So I understand where you're coming from. And I think it's beautiful to the fact that you have the opportunity to have someone else to help you become a mother in that way. But at the same time, I do understand that numbing that you're talking about, like
Yeah.
not to be able to, but it's okay. It's okay. You have your baby.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're full handful with
Yes.
the baby.
Yes.
It's a whole process. Just watch. Okay. What we I'm interested. We're talking about this now. The question comes is, what were some of the highs and lows of this journey?
Um, so many. I mean, the highs obviously were seeing both of my children be born with two different surrogates, within 4 months of each other. I mean, witnessing a birth, I think. So as a woman, being sort of in the traditional role of like the dad in the delivery room, right? Like most women don't have that, view of their own child being born, and witnessing the whole process sort of outside of the birthing position was incredibly special and unique. And I think I didn't know what to expect. And it was so, so, so incredible to just kind of witness my children come to life, really, and watch my surrogates kind of bring them to life. It's indescribable. Um, that was definitely a high for me, but I think that's pretty obvious. I think the relationships that I've developed with each of them, they're very different. They're both so special to me. And, the ability that I've had to kind of like expand my heart to like have these people who were strangers like become my family essentially, and have given me my family, has been like the best sort of expander for me that I could have ever imagined. And the lows, I mean, the lows were kind of what you expect. Our first surrogate miscarried twice, so pretty low. And our second surrogate, her water broke at 29 weeks. So there was, 5 weeks there of kind of holding our breath and waiting, but we got through them.
Wow. Wow. Pregnancies are so different in each
Yeah.
phase and person, and even in the same person when they have different kids also is different. So it's must
Yeah.
be tough to go through all that because it's like, oh my God, you're taking all that. Like, is your life, but is your baby's life, and it's her life too. It's like three people.
Very complicated. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, you're here, you have your family, and well, thankfully.
Yes.
Um, what was the most meaningful and unforgettable moment for you? I think I know the answer.
I think the birth.
The birth,
Yeah.
I guess. The more that's something you will have for both of them. How
Yes.
old are your babies now?
Almost 5 months and almost 9 months.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they're little.
Ah, so are you a full-time mommy now? Are you working from home?
No, I have my own business. So I'm a concierge service and I match
Oh,
intended
that's true.
parents with
I'm sorry
surrogates.
when we're talking about, I
Yeah,
just thought about the babies.
no, that's
A
okay.
lot.
But I
Wow,
work from
you're a
home,
super
so
mom.
I do see my kids a lot and I'm really fortunate for that.
You're a super mommy.
Oh, thank
You have
you.
your own business. You're an entrepreneur, not just working, but an entrepreneur. That's a lot.
Thank you so much.
So kudos. How did your relationship with your gestational careers develop over time? Did you have
Really organic, honestly. And I think we both at the match calls for both of them were kind of like, we don't know what to expect. We're open to anything. And in the best way possible with each of them, it was a very natural progression. Any relationship, we got to know each other. We started texting more. We started kind of casually communicating and understanding each other's sense of humor. It's like dating, sort of. It's like building any relationship. Like, you get to know each other, it becomes more comfortable. We went through hard times together, so it's an evolving bonding experience.
So when you choose the first one, did you have that gut feeling as well? Did you like that person, or did you go through the two or three different ones
No, it
when
was
you
sort of similar with both, where we just had a really good feeling.
right away? So they
Yeah, pretty
match you, and
much.
you're like, oh yes, they match you. They did a good job.
Yeah.
Ah, great, good to know. What role did she play, they in this case, in your emotional experience of becoming a mother?
They were so deeply a part of it. I think I expected there to be, I don't know how to best describe it. I don't know. Maybe I expected to sort of maybe be jealous in some way, seeing my surrogates be pregnant and get pregnant with my baby, but I didn't feel that way at all. I felt like they were giving me this incredible gift, and I think they added so much dimension to what it means to become a mom, kind of as I was touching on earlier. So it was a really positive experience for me.
Was there a moment in your relationship with them, each of them, that truly stood out to you?
Not one moment. I think the whole thing was
The
just,
whole thing.
even to this day, I kind of look at my babies and I'm like, I can't believe they did this for us.
Wow, yeah, that's beautiful. That's huge. And yeah, I believe you must have to be thankful to both of them.
Thankful does not even begin to describe.
Yeah. It's that they become part of the family, right? It's a lot.
We've really been through
Okay.
it together.
Yeah. So what does a family mean to you now after going through this journey?
Family just means, togetherness and trust and this kind of love and respect that does not need to be limited to blood related
Mm.
people. I feel that for my surrogates and for their kids that we came to know through this journey in the same way that I do for my own biological family members. So it's shown me that can be much bigger than what you traditionally might think.
What surprised you the most about becoming a mom this way? What was this?
I
What
don't
was
know
the
if it surprised me the most about becoming a mom this way, but I think becoming a mom has surprised me in that it is much more difficult than I imagined. Even though I thought it would be difficult, just the sort of all-encompassing demand, physically, mentally, financially, all the things. It's rocked me quite a bit.
What did you wish more people understood about surrogacy and motherhood?
I wish more people understood that, motherhood comes in different ways and looks so different to different people while still being pretty universal. There's not one way to become a mother. There's not one way to be a mother. There is not one role that, is being a mother. You can mother and be mothered in many different ways and in many different roles of your life. And I think that's so special and amazing. Um, and I wish more people knew how sort of complicated surrogacy was. And, I think people on the outside of it can kind of oversimplify and kind of say, oh, well, just work with a surrogate, or why would you work with a surrogate, without really understanding sort of the things that go into it.
What advice would you give to those women who are considering motherhood through this path?
Um, I would tell them to identify someone to support them through the journey, ideally who's been through it themselves. That is why I decided to start my business. I think that that is so needed, and I was fortunate to have that. And I speak to so many people, women, men, couples, you name it, who are kind of just starting out learning about this process and don't realize that this is an option and that there is a better, more efficient way to sort of attack the process, and that having an advocate is so important. And that's what I aim to do for my clients.
So, what would be your advice for the first step when intended parents are coming into this journey?
Call me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's a great step because we have them all. Awesome. And looking back, what would you tell yourself at the beginning of your journey?
Slow down and be patient and try to let go of the outcome.
That's
Much
bravo.
easier said than done.
I mean, it's great to hear this. And you know what? This is the advice I hear from every single one I talk to, either GCs or intended parents. They're like,
Yeah.
be patient. Intended parents need to be patient. They can just expect the journey to be in 9 months. It's going to take a few times.
It's not a fast process. I mean, I help make it a lot faster, but it's just not a fast process.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
great too. It's beautiful. And the last question, what advice would you give to those mothers who are thinking of becoming a gestational career, a surrogate?
Oh my gosh. I don't know that I have any advice, but more just such gratitude and awe that you're willing to give this gift to a family and that you will change someone's life. Many,
Wow.
many people's lives.
Right. Thank you so much for the interview. This is a great way to meet you. Um, and I would love to maybe in the future have another interview, maybe with different questions, maybe with different themes. We have different themes per month.
Absolutely. I would love that.
Yes, and looking
I could
forward
talk
to.
about this for hours, so
I
I'll be back
know,
anytime you want me.
I know, and there's so many questions that we want to ask, but we try to put it together into just this thing because it would come too long. But it's beautiful. The more I learn, I'm about, the stories. And that's one of the reasons we want to put this out there because when you search surrogacy, so many bad things come out because
Yeah.
there are so many bad people out there too. So
Yeah.
it's beautiful to hear this part, the real part, the why surrogacy is
100%.
here. Right. Thank you so much, Carlos Joseph, for this interview with us at Fairfax Surrogacy, for being one of our intended parents in a great case and a beautiful story. The journey was amazing. She's a mother of two through surrogacy, and she has her own concierge organization that helps intended parents in looking for this path as parenthood, of course.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to kind of be on the other side talking to you and, the team at Fairfax who helped us have our son, which is, the best gift that we could have asked for. And I would love to help anyone who's listening, who's curious about learning more about surrogacy, to match with surrogates. You can find me on my website is carlypjoseph.com or on Instagram at carlypjoseph. And we'll tag everything in the show notes.